Hello and welcome to Sydney Boat Sales' second video newsletter. Basically it's a roundup of what's been happening in as far as Sydney boat sales are going, and probably a broader view on the outlook for the industry. Here we are, post prime. We got through the worst of it, I think. We probably saw the beginning of it at the 07 boat show, when I think we all felt, or those of us in the used boats felt, that the price of new boats had been pushed up too high by manufacturers keen to increase their margins on the back of probably what was starting to be a declining boom. On the basis of that, sales soared at the 07 boat show, I feel, and we noticed it's very patchy in sales compared to previous years. Then we came to the fuel price increase at the beginning of 08, and of course that sort of brought sales a bit more to a slight juddering halt. And then we had Prime, of course, where anybody would say that boat sales would be affected wouldn't be called a forecaster; it would just be called a fact. Boat sales stalled, and some instances, particularly new boats, have continued to stall. However, we're the first to go and we're the first to come back, and I can tell you that we are seeing signs of a comeback. The inquiry rate is steadily increasing, and they're good inquiries. They're from people that are hard-headed, that know what they're buying. They know they're buying boats for 15, in some cases 20% less than they were 18 months ago. And I don't think those boat prices are going to come up on certain types of boats. Some of these older boats now that have held their value for so long are definitely declining in value, as the mechanical side of those boats needs attention and replacement. And some of those engines now are over 20 years old. And just because they're running well doesn't mean to say that under pressure they're not going to start breathing a bit of oil and losing a bit of power. So I think, if you are buying an older boat, great. They're good value for money. There's plenty out there, and we're certainly selling them. But make sure that the boat's well maintained, it's got good service history. But unfortunately, I think that the amount of new boats that are lying out there waiting to be sold, particularly in factories, in dealers' yards, and certainly in harbours and moorings, so you can see them out there, new boats that haven't been sold maybe for 2 years. Those boats will be dropped in price to clear the decks, what I can see as being quite a good 2010. So coming up to the Sydney Boat Show, I think it's going to be steady as she goes. Sydney Boat Show, I think, will be a bit of a kick-off to the industry. We've got the Century Cove Boat Show coming up. I think that's going to be more of a lookers show as people sort of weigh up their options, and they'll make their decisions at the Sydney Boat Show. So I think for the new boat dealer at the Sydney Boat Show, I'd say it's going to be good. Certainly for us at Sydney Boat Sales, we've got a stand inside the show, and we're doing a video on how to buy a boat. We consider ourselves to be experts in used boat sales, and certainly there's a lot of help that's needed to new boat buyers, because it's a very unknown territory to them. Words like bow, stern drives, legs, gimbal bearings, all those things to take into account which you don't normally come across in everyday language. And the video we're going to do will be presented at the Sydney Boat Show in a full screen, and it'll be there to educate people on how to buy a boat. And of course we'll be showing you the boats we've got for sale as well, that are all located around the harbour. And certainly from the Sydney Boat Show you can come to Sydney Boat Sales and have a look at them. Just make a time, we'll be happy to take you out. So moving on to the Sydney Boat Show, which I think will be a good boat show, we're going to have, I think, a slight shortage of boats coming up to October, November, December. We always do. I mean, good, clean, tidy boats tend to go around in October, November, and that means by December, January, you're looking at a slightly less amount of offerings. So I think if you want to get your boat on the market, don't be afraid to put it on the market now, especially with Sydney Boat Sales. I mean, you'll see your boat presented at Sydney Boat Show. You'll see your boat on YouTube. You'll see your boat in Trader Boat. You'll see your boat in Boat Point. You'll see it on our own website. You'll see it in Yacht Hub, and also on buysellboats.com.au. Buysellboats.com.au is one of our little brainchilds. We've got buy sell motorcycles, homes, and cars, and you can list on there for free. So, give your boat to Sydney Boat Sales. We'll give it a good advertising marketing campaign. We'll give it a realistic price. There's no point in putting your boat on a price that nobody's going to look at it. There's too many boats on the market. Put it on a price where the buyers know it's maybe a touch too high, but it's worth them looking at. Because what you want is buyers. You don't want lookers. It's no good putting your boat on for 200,000 if nobody's going to look at it unless it's advertised less than 190. What's the point? People know what prices of boats are. These people around at the moment are hard-headed. They're spending their boats in the middle of what's considered to be a recession. So they're not wasting their money. So unless you get somebody that's blind, deaf, or has never seen a boat in his life, and there are very few of those people about, people pay the market value for boats. It's not what you spent on it. You might have replaced the engine, you might replace the flybridge, you might replace the covers. It's like if you replace the roof on your house. It doesn't make it worth any more. It just makes it easier to sell. So bear that in mind. Boats are worth what people want to pay, not what you want for them. And that's a fact of life. So a boat here, Sydney Boat Sales, we're realistic, we're established, we're a member of the Marine Brokers Association of New South Wales. In fact, we're one of the founding members and instrumental in founding that association. We have a code of ethics. We go on an accreditation course every year and a top-up course to make sure we're kept abreast of new developments. And if you have got your boat for sale with a broker, is he a member of the Marine Brokers Association? If it isn't, why not? You know, I mean, it's a good association, it's professional, and your money is looked after, and certainly you are looked after as well. Australia is well known for innovation in industry, and there are lots and lots of small businesses. Australia is built on small businesses, and I think you know, sometimes governments need to realise that we're not all big companies, and we need as much encouragement as possible. So for the boat industry, I can only see good things to come. Certainly there'll be changes in the way of fuel economy, design developments as far as the shape of hulls go, as they try to keep down the fuel costs, and more on a living style of boats. Definitely more on a living style. Boats are no longer for the little guy with his little hat and his pipe going out with his fishing rod. Boats are for the family, and manufacturers have realised that. And certainly, if you look at the Riviera 4700 sports yacht we've got for sale, that is an apartment on the water. It's a great seaboat. Sure, it can go offshore, but when you go on it to spend your weekend on it, you've got everything you need. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need a holiday home. You're on the water, you're relaxing, you're enjoying yourself. So that's it from me, Des at Sydney Boat Sales. We'll do another one of these video newsletters coming to the Sydney Boat Show. I work with Andrew Bettini, very well experienced. He's been with me for 4 years, and he's my right-hand man. And Mark Robertson, who does our office.